So I welcome all the participants again, and for those whom this is the first session, let me introduce to the session, which is communication strategies and public relations for mega sporting events. This is going to be a very special session because this is coming straight from IOC. Christian Klaue, who is the director for public affairs and communication in IOC, will be taking a session. It will be more a Q&A session. So I request if you can have your questions ready. We'll be straight away asking to Christian Klaue, is the IOC member. So we have Mr. Christian Klaue. As the Director of Corporate Communication and Public Affairs at the International Olympic Committee, he is responsible for shaping and delivering IOC's strategic communication agendas, including public affairs, media relation, and internal communications. Christian have been in this role since 2019, after serving as an ad interim strategic communication director for 10 months, with an immense experience of 15 years in sports media and communication. He holds a diploma in sports science with a focus on media and communication from the German Sports University Cologne, which again is a very renowned university. His mission is to promote the value and vision of Olympic movement and to engage with the diverse and global audience like India through innovative and impactful communication channels. Christian Klaue is a former journalist and joined the IOC in 2015 as head of communications. He was also the former head of communication for German-speaking countries, having come from German Olympic Sports Confederation. So Christian holds an immense experience in terms of how to shape public affairs and communication strategies in terms of mega events, that too in Olympics. So Christian, most welcome. I hope I am audible.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for giving your time, which is early in the morning, I believe, at your place.
Well, it's fair enough. It's 7 o'clock. That should be sufficient to be up.
So first of all, we appreciate that you find time for us early in the morning. And let me just give a familiarization of the audience. We have approximately 120 heads listening to you in our auditorium, as you can see very clearly. And this is the second day of our conference. Today, we are talking about economical strategies as well as public relations and communication, along with Internet of Things, AI, and how technology can impact Olympic events, Olympic or mega events. So we have with us Christian Klaue. Christian, first of all, I would like to know, and obviously this is going to be a more question-answer session, and we have our IT team as well. I would like to know what exactly is the role of communication and public affairs as a director of communication public affairs. What exactly is the role of yours in the IOC?
Sorry, I lost you in between. I heard as well, and then the last word I heard again was IOC. So sorry, you got to repeat it. I'm afraid.
So just to give a quick familiarization of what's your exact role in the IOC. Our audience would like to know what exactly does a director of public affairs and communication do in the IOC. Shall I repeat it again?
Yes, because it seems that your microphone is stopping once in a while.
Okay.
And now you're gone again.
Yes,
silent.
I was actually gone. So okay. Our audience would like to know now that what exactly is the role as a director of planning, public affairs and communication in IOC?
Oh, thank you very much. And once again, good morning. Thanks for having me. The director of communications and public affairs basically stands on two legs. I'm standing on the leg of communications and on the leg of public affairs, as the title says. When it comes to communication, then it's all what is related to corporate communication, meaning, what is the strategy of the organization? What is the policy approach of the organization? I'm basically dealing with many of the institutional matters of the IOC. We have a team which is the digital engagement and marketing team, And these colleagues are responsible for instance, social media, for running campaigns. We say they are responsible for the B2P, for the business to people communication. I'm probably closer to the business to business communication, but at the same time, we are dealing with all the media in the communication side of things. When it comes to public affairs, then, as you might know or not, the IOC has the role as a permanent observer at the United Nations. And we, with our team, manage this relationship. We're working with all the UN agencies in order to ensure that sport is on the agenda in all the meetings of the United Nations, the important ones, that sport is included in important policy papers, like recently in the Pact of for the Future, where sport played a good role. And that is our job, to work with the UN system in order to give visibility to sport and to also find a place for sport in the policy making.
So that's very fair, because all of us being a center of, and the only center in India, I would say that we all are aware of the very successful planning strategies or communication which IOC use. I would like to know specifically how this planning strategies or communication strategies evolved in IOC, because these are very flawless, these are very smooth, and every one of us, I believe I have to rephrase again.
Maybe you don't give me the image, but just give me the sound.
So I guess I'm audible now.
I'm afraid I can't hear you.
Is it okay now?
Yes, okay now is what I heard next.
So let me try again. So we are all aware, as a center in India, we are all aware that how communication and public affairs are very active in IOC. So we would like to know how it evolved, because these are magnificent, these are very effective. So how do you think this communication strategies evolved in IOC per se?
Well, if you let's maybe look at communication overall. I'm always saying communication needs to be part of the decision making, but then the decision needs to be made, and communications needs to, and that's my description, wrap it and ship it. Which means, in the end, we in the communications field, we depend, of course, on the decisions which are being made by the organization. And our job is then to make sure that all the audiences which we are targeting are receiving these messages, and are receiving these messages in their languages. And now when I say languages, then of course I mean languages as of language, but also as of how you need to address all these audiences. Kind of how do you get these messages shaped so that they work for this audience. So that's the job which we have. But it's also our job to make sure that we protect the reputation of the IOC. Because obviously an international organization like the IOC with 206 national Olympic committees is very much a balancing act. We always need to make sure that we try to bring everyone on board. So there's a lot of internal communication need in order to ensure that the internal community also gets the message and then can actually help to spread the message, because the Olympic movement is so big and this brings so many opportunities that it requires a lot of internal communication work in order to then use these opportunities and make sure that the messages get into the last corner of the world. That's not always easy, and that's not always possible, but very often we are succeeding in that. And I think that Paris 2024 was a perfect example for how we did that. And we did that very closely with our colleagues and friends in Paris. because what they had put on, their ideas really were a perfect platform for this event, for this beautiful event, Olympic Games, to be so successful as they were in Paris.
So in fact, yes, we were in the previous discussion when we were talking about the Paris success in terms of communication as well as in terms of economy. That is coming as a epitome of organizing Olympic Games post the Agenda 2020 plus 5. So I can see that you are wearing something which gives a touch of Indian culture too. I'm not sure whether it is inspired from India. Yes. Oh, thank you so much.
It's not just inspired in India, from India. I bought it in Mumbai when we were at the IOC session, so I love it. So here you go. This morning I thought I definitely need to put it on.
So that's a very bright light for us. I would like the audience to give a big round of applause to Christian. So now my next question comes because in India we have a rich heritage, very diverse culture, very diverse linguistic population coming from very different states of and from corners of India. How can we use this, just in general, how can we use this to have a very good communication strategy? That was a good question.
The image is frozen.
Okay, now it is visible. So the question is just, I would like to sum it up right now. The question is, do we have an edge that any culture with such a diverse dimension of cultural aspect in it, can this be used or can this be a driver of our communication strategy when it comes to holding mega events in India? Not only Olympics, but any mega events in India.
Yes, the communities which come along, but it also requires to make sure that everybody is being brought on board. And there, if we look back at Paris again, because we discussed with our communication colleagues from Paris, what were the drivers of your success, and who was the communications director of Paris, came up with 8 points, and one of the points was really to say that it's the importance of staying connected to all different areas and sectors of society, to bring the whole country on board, to make sure that nobody is left out. Because if you do hold a mega event like this, it's big, but it also requires that you try to bring everyone along your journey, because it's a journey. There are opportunities for everyone, but you need to make sure that everybody gets access to these communities. And therefore, you need to set out a clear vision for this event in the beginning, in order then to deliver on this mission and vision, to make sure that it gets to everyone in the country, and that you give these opportunities to everyone in the country, and then that it becomes this unifying event for the country and the world. So it starts with the vision, and it's very important to have this vision early on in the process, and then to continue always to benchmark against this vision everything you do. But in the end, communications is, as I described it before, communications is in the end only the wrapping and the shipping. Important is that you do it, and then you communicate about it, and then it becomes a successful package.
So we hear you well. This is what we can leverage out of our cultural diversity. But when we talk about actually implementing it to the grounds, do we have some takeaways that, okay, these are the strategies which have worked before, and you can certainly use them, or they'll help you to be some tangible difference in India. So what are the successful communication strategies which can be implied in terms of Indian perspective?
I would say it's probably very similar to what others have done, because diversity is there in many other places as well. Nowhere as widespread as in India, because of the sheer size of the country and the sheer size of your population. However, the strategies are probably very similar. And I go back to what we discussed with our colleagues from Paris when Anne said, we put in place a very sophisticated national engagement strategy early on in the process. And that was key to their success. And then they also looked at how would they represent France, the country, to the world when it comes to the games, because this is a huge opportunity to unify the country and to show a unified picture of the country to the entire world. Then, as I said, staying connected to all the different sectors of society, but also imagery. Imagery plays an important role when it comes to the Olympic Games. When we talk about Paris 2024, we definitely talk right away or remember right away these images, the Eiffel Tower, the Seine, right? This is what is in our head. And this is what Paris did work with the media and the broadcasters, because in particular our media rights holders, they are so big, they create such a massive audience, and you have that in India as well. So use your media landscape, use your broadcasters, use social media in order to spread this message. But then also every event comes, in particular them up front, trying to find out what people think and how your communication strategies are working and how the messaging arrives at the people and how it is being perceived is important to have a feedback channel and then to adapt if needed. And lastly, another point which our colleagues from France made and which is shared very much by us is having a strong and visible leader is very, very important. Somebody who stands for a project, because people like to talk to people. People don't necessarily like to talk to organizations. I can't hear you. Now you're back. You're back with moving images and speaking.
Yes, yes. So we are back. I don't. Yes, we have Mr. Lambis from all the way from Paris, and he have something for you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Christian. Good to see
Good
you.
morning.
You spoke a lot about Paris 2024, so thank you on behalf of the team. So just a question about the role of athletes in the sports movement. As you pull together a bid, as potentially our friends in India are trying to do, and eventually delivering an event, how important it is for athletes and the sports movement to be involved both in designing, but also in propagating the message of the games. Thank you.
You're welcome, and good to see you again. This time from far. Athletes are crucial because the Olympic Games are about 10,500 athletes from the territories of 206 NOCs. The athlete stories are the stories which drive the audience. What are the audiences watching? They are watching amazing performances of athletes in front of landmark buildings in Paris, and I'm sure landmark buildings in India once the games one day might happen in India or other major sport events. So bringing athletes on board and having them helping you to design the vision, what is then going to be games for them, is crucial, because if you have happy athletes, that is the 50% of the success. If you have unhappy athletes, then you have a huge problem. That's why Paris had an athletes commission which was involved in designing the project, in validating every step along the way, and making sure that the needs of athletes were taken into consideration, whatever planning phase Paris was in. And that's a communications exercise. It's a practical exercise. It's everything. I mean, as I said before, communications must be part of every decision making in every planning, and then it's helping to spread the message. But absolutely, athletes are key, and you have great Indian athletes. Bring them on board.
Hi, Christian. Ritika here. My
Hi.
question to you is about the communication strategy. As you are aware, the bidding process is on. We've submitted our expression of interest. So, how soon do you think the communication strategy comes into play? Because even with the expression of interest, there are enough eyeballs on India already. So, should we have had a communication strategy in play already, or should it come in a lot later with the bidding process, or how does that work in an overall perspective for India? If you can still hear me.
Yes.
Yes.
Say it again. And please start from how soon the communication. That's what
Yeah.
I've
How
heard.
soon does the communication strategy come into play? Because even with the expression of interest, there's enough eyeballs on you already. So ideally, with the PR, does that come in before the bidding process? Does that come in during the bidding process, or is that something that we should look at a lot later?
No. It's part of every step you take, because I in the end, it's a journey you have started, right?
Right.
There's a finish line where you want to get, which is holding one day the games in India. Along the way, you need to bring people on board, and without communicating, you will not be able to do that. Hence, why it's crucially important to have communication as part of your strategy, and it starts from the outset. We in the IOC, that's really here in the IOC, something which I really value. Communication always sits around the table when decisions are made, for two reasons. One is to first of all give our input how this decision, which is supposed to be made, could impact communications, meaning what communications challenges could come out of this decision. And secondly, also to understand how the decision is taken, and then to be able to better sell and to better distribute this kind of information to the different audiences, to translate it into the different audiences. So to answer your your question in one sentence, it's absolutely crucial to have communications on board from the first step you take.
Right. Sorry, just a follow-up question to that. And it's okay for the strategy to keep changing over time as the developments progress, right? It doesn't have to be set
It
in
must.
stone. It must, right?
It must.
Fair.
Everything must evolve, because you need to adapt to situations which come your way. I mean, again, looking back at Paris, there were so many communication challenges which we had not planned for and had also not hoped for. But once they came, we adapted together with the colleagues, and the close collaboration again with all the stakeholders of the Olympic movement, with all the stakeholders in your country, is key, because in the end you need to bring everyone on board, and then you have multiple voices, and these multiple voices help to make this beautiful sound, and to have this choir sounding world. But therefore you need to teach everyone, and you need to give everyone the same hymn sheet in order for them to be able to have the notes which it takes to deliver the message or to sing the song, to stay in the musical picture.
Very well put. Thank you.
So we have one more question. Please, sir, go ahead.
Good morning, Mr. Christian.
Good morning.
Yes. Sir, I want to ask you that India is very unique in a way that we understand.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah. Morning, sir. I'll repeat again. Sir, do you feel that India, being a unique country where we understand English, we speak English, So right from a rickshaw puller to a car driver to a shopkeeper, we can, communication is our biggest asset. So do you think this will be a major turning point for India to bag 2036 bid for Olympics?
Well, absolutely, it's a huge opportunity. Universality of the games. So therefore, the chances you have to bring your Indian spirit, your Indian strength into the planet is really brought in the French culture and gave the games a French touch. With the French creativity, and I'm sure you would give the Olympic Games a very Indian touch, and everybody in the world would appreciate that. But from the should bring in there, you are more expert than I, but what I can say is definitely think about that, how your strength, how the Indian strength can be used in order to make potential Olympic Games in India to a huge success.
Hi, Christian. Oh, so we are audible, right? Okay, so we'll be winding the session. Before we do, hi, Christian. We'll be winding.
Before we do, you said, yes, I can hear you again.
So thank you for the guiding words. Before we wind up the session, we would like to honor you with a memento from Rashtriya Raksha University virtually, because you are virtually present. So I would like to ask, after he comes.
We'll cross.
So that's for you, and we'll be handling it to. Sorry. So Lambis, you have to take care of this now.
Yeah, the image was frozen again. So just maybe summarize it in 2 sentences.
So this is for you.
I see it. Yes.
Handing over to Lambis, and okay, packed.
Thank you.
Packed for to reach you in Paris, right? Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for your time. Let's give a
all
big,
the best.
big
Take
round
care.
of applause.
Merci. Have a good afternoon.
Have a good afternoon to you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
So handing over to the next session.